Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, Facebook family. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. It is a very, very stormy evening here in Oklahoma. Thunderstorms and tornado warnings, and the weathermen are all excited and running around and fear-mongering, all the great things they like to do. Did you hear that? That's called Oklahoma lightning when it gets real bad, or they think it's bad anyway. So I might lose signal or something. I'm not sure. You never know kind of how things work out. So this morning in the Lovevolution group, I taught a class. I teach a class pretty much every morning when I work out. It's the morning workout for the group. And I talked about regulation versus dysregulation. Hey, good evening, Kirsten and Stefan. Good to see you guys. It's afternoon for you guys in the Netherlands, or no, it's 1 a.m. for you guys. Hey, Melissa. Melissa heard that lightning. So I teach this class, every morning when I work out, the morning workout, and we talked about affect regulation versus dysregulation. And so one of my most favorite scientific findings comes from that kind of conversation usually I have in my lectures. And it comes from Alan Shore's tome on affect regulation and the origin of the self. And it was actually in the foreword. And it's so powerful. And I believe that affect dysregulation is the epidemic of our society. We talk about all these different illnesses and all the measles scares and the vaccination fears and overwhelm. 1:30 a.m. in the morning, Stefan. You guys, after this, it's time for night-night. Kids got to be in bed. Mom and dad time. Night-night. As soon as Big Papa turns it off. Light some candles. Okay, so in the book, in the foreword, Shore cites Taylor et al. Hello, Mama. Hope you're having good weather there in Alabama. Taylor et al. As saying, it is believed that affect dysregulation is a fundamental mechanism involved in all psychiatric disorders. It is believed that affect dysregulation is a fundamental mechanism involved in all psychiatric disorders. And what you have to understand is that affect dysregulation is the experience of stress outside of your window of tolerance. So affect dysregulation is akin to the state of being stressed out. So the Big Papa spin on that, it is believed that affect dysregulation is a fundamental mechanism involved in all psychiatric disorders, it is believed that being stressed out is the fundamental cause of all psychological and emotional challenges. And this morning I added behavioral to that because we always like to focus on behaviors. It is believed that being stressed out is the fundamental cause for all psychological, emotional, and behavioral challenges. And I want you to just take that in. I mean, that is such a simple concept, and I have been teaching that concept for years now, for years. Alan Shore's book came out in 1997, so I know I've been teaching it since probably 1999. That one concept is revolutionary. If we could really understand that, because the ones I like to really cite all the time is the other one by Joseph Ledoux, which says, in times of stress, our thinking becomes confused and distorted, and our short-term memory is suppressed. Well, if you think about that in the context of the statement of when we're stressed out, that being stressed out is the fundamental cause of all psychological, emotional, and behavioral challenges, well, you right away, you combine the two and just think when you're stressed out, your thinking's all crazy and your short-term memory suppressed. So not only is your thinking confused and distorted, but you can't remember, that 5 minutes ago you were in a safe place. So it only makes sense that if you're stressed out and your thinking's all confused and distorted and your short-term memory is suppressed, that is going to be rooted in manifesting psychological, emotional, behavioral challenges. See, if your thinking is confused and distorted and you can't remember, your thinking is confused and distorted. So why would that not be at the root of psychological challenges? If your thinking is confused and distorted and you can't remember, which means you're in a state of stress and fear, why would that not drive your emotional challenges? And if your thinking is confused and distorted and your short-term memory is suppressed and you're in a place of survival, why would that not drive your behavior? So the moral of the story here is when you are looking at, and it's really, I think the big breakdown, the big gap, kind of where we fall off in society and in our relationships, is that when we are looking at someone who is operating from a place of stress and fear, when they're operating from a place of psychological, emotional, behavioral challenges, it threatens us. And when it threatens us, it triggers our amygdala. And when our amygdala gets triggered, then our own thinking becomes confused and distorted, and our own short-term memory shuts down, and then that puts us at risk for having psychological, emotional, behavioral challenges. So the real fundamental epidemic in society is really a breakdown in relationship because of stress. Because in stress, we're not thinking clearly, we don't remember clearly, and therefore stress is the fundamental cause of psychological, emotional, behavioral challenges. So if you want to effectively work to diminish psychological, emotional, behavioral challenges, start reducing stress. It's that simple. When you're encountering a psychological, emotional, behavioral challenge, first you have to calm yourself down. You have to regulate your own stress. That's the biggest and that's the most difficult. Regulating your own stress is the single biggest challenge in any relationship experience. Period. The psychological challenges that you're looking at, the emotional challenges you're looking at, the behavioral challenges you're looking at, that's not the challenge. The challenge is your ability not to feel threatened and overwhelmed and drop into all your own past traumas and negative experience and fears of abandonment, rejection, and not being good enough, and anxieties and all that kind of stuff. That's the big challenge. You conquer that, then it doesn't matter what you see in your children or in your partner or in your spouse, because you no longer feel threatened. And when you no longer feel threatened, you are able to stay in a place of love and stay in a place of regulation. Therefore, your thinking stays online, your short-term memory stays activated and stays available. You stay present, you stay mindful, and that way you can see that person who's in that place of psychological, emotional, behavioral challenges is actually operating from a place of stress, and their thinking is confused and distorted and their short-term memory suppressed. Now, watch this video again and again and again and again until you can put all that in your head and in your heart, just like that. Big Papa loves you. Remember, in any given situation, we always have two choices. We can continue to react from our same imprints and blueprints of stress, fear, and overwhelm, or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. We can slow down, and we can choose love. Remember, I'm giving away 100,000 copies of Fear to Love. As of right now, we're probably at 90,900 or something. I think we've already given away about 100 copies. All you got to do is pay shipping and handling, $7.95 shipping and handling. We send you the actual book and we send you the audio book of From Fear to Love. Just go to feartolovebook.com. If you already have it, please share it with someone else. And stay warm and stay dry and have a fantastic evening and a good night's rest. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow.